Well, welcome everybody to the February 1st edition of Idea Share. I'm Catherine Boyle, stepping in for Beth Golick today from the Key Ministry team. So welcome everybody. I appreciate you taking some time today to join us on this call. So I have a question for you before we get going. How many of you have a, are having a snow day where you are? Okay, lots of hands, lots of hands. I live near the Meekins, but they are far west of me and they normally get a lot more snow. So Meekins, I'm just curious real quick how much you guys got.
Official Lynchburg was like 5.2 inches.
Okay, all right. Well, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah, it was great.
It's very pretty outside.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully, hopefully everybody has, is warm and has not had power outage. But anyways, I'm just glad that you could all join us today. So it's been a whole month since we were here together talking about what changes, what new things are going on with your ministries. So if anybody has something that you'd like to share that maybe you've started, now that it's a new year and we're into the second month of the new year, why don't you go ahead and just raise your hand and let us know what you've been doing. Any takers? Has anybody started any new groups since the new year began? Okay.
Hi, this is Bob Furtado.
Hey Bob, how are you?
Yeah, I did start a new. Good. How are you?
Go ahead.
I did start a new group, and one of the things that I'm doing this month, and I would appreciate the help of this group to be able to let others know about it, is on February 28th at 4 p.m. I have the author of From Longing to Belonging, Christensen, will be speaking at that time. She wrote the book. It is basically guidelines for how to have inclusion in faith-based communities for people with physical disabilities and mental health conditions. And she's a great speaker, and I would just like to be able to get the word out about that. And just a suggestion for people, it's my understanding, this month, February, is the Jewish Awareness and Inclusion Month for persons with disabilities within the Jewish faith-based organizations, including offices, higher education, that sort of thing. So it'd be interesting to see what types of things that they do that might be applicable to our own ministries. Thank you.
Definitely. Bob, would you mind saying the name of that resource again, or a website that I can put in the chat?
I would appreciate it. For my group, it's called St. Lucy's Guide, STLUCYSGUID@gmail.com. And it's on Sunday, February 28th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And I would, appreciate it. Perhaps I will be doing an ad or a post, and would appreciate any opportunities for any of the folks here to be able to help me share that information. I think it would be great information for people that are in their ministries looking for ideas.
Yep, that sounds fabulous. And please send me a link when you have one, and we'll make sure to get it in the Key Ministry social media.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so what else is going on this month?
I had a question, actually, that might, so for people who have reopened in any capacity, like in person, either indoors, outdoors, or like whatever, I was wondering if anybody has made like modifications to their physical environment at church. We did build a whole like outdoor situation at our church, because we can, and we're doing preschool, but we've been talking about it as a staff, like what kind of physical, changes we can make to accommodate people. So I don't know if anyone, has done that, because I know a lot of you have already reopened. We have not, and we are not yet, but we will someday.
We reopened back in August, and we didn't make any changes to the structure of the building, but we've kind of changed the way we work with the stuff that's in the rooms. So in our special needs classroom, in actually all the classrooms, we've taken out a lot of the toys, and anything that can't be easily wiped down. So that is something to really consider. The other thing, and I'm sure you guys will all know this, but one of the things that's happening in all our churches is a lot of hand sanitizer and different things being put out for everyone to use. But in our special needs ministry, we take extra care to make sure those get put away, because if you don't look, one of our kids will get into it in an unhealthy way. And then the last thing we really have been doing is using a lot of visual boundaries to help tell kids where to go and where not to go. So we use the carpet squares in all of our ministries, especially our special needs ministry, put them on the floor so the kids can see how far apart to be. So it's really just been a little bit of thinking through how do you adapt your environment to be as safe as you possibly can make it. And that's been working pretty well. I mean, but the kids still, like, they're not always going to social distance and those things, but it definitely at least helps.
Yeah, and so Beth put in the chat that in their children's ministry at Bay Presbyterian, that they do registration for Sunday morning ministry, and same thing that you were just talking about, Barb, with fewer toys, carpet squares, everything 6 feet apart. I'm sure you've all probably been to the grocery store and see like the circles or the dots or whatever. It's like that in gyms as well, like at the Y or American Family or whatever you have nearby. And it seems like those kind of things are pretty common for all age groups and abilities, for sure.
We also did room capacities, so we had to look at square footages of our rooms. We make things very visual. We have stanchions set up kind of with one-way traffic flows through our environments. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I did when we went back in August, Barb, we went back in August too, we did start initially with a registration process, but that has now since gone away. So just being in touch with your families, and kind of sent an email out saying, hey, we'd love to have you whenever, but let me know so we can make sure we have supports and everything in place for you, instead of just surprising me on a Sunday morning. And then the other thing I found helpful was I sent an email to the families just with guidelines, and we used our social media to kind of communicate things. And for our children's areas, the kids were required to wear masks at all times along with our volunteers, and they went through a temperature check before they were even allowed back into our children's area. But with our sensory room, we used to kind of take kids back and forth, and a couple things we are doing differently is our kids don't transition between rooms anymore. That kind of is a COVID thing. And then I let the families know that if their kiddos are primarily in one of the sensory rooms full time, we encourage the mask and we encourage the social distancing, knowing that it may not happen. So are you okay with that? Because more than likely in those environments, we just are a little bit more lenient. I have a little girl, she's been here every week, and she loves oral input. She'll pull that mask down into her mouth and just chew on the thing. It's soaking wet, before she even gets in the building. So just communicating to family that those are little things that we've kind of tweaked and we're trying to be flexible with.
I just like to add, Michelle, that's almost exactly 100% what we did as well, almost everything. The only difference is we are still using the RSVP for our special needs ministry and the general children's ministry, but 100% everything else you said. We used to go back and forth with buddies since the pandemic. We are now in our classroom, partly because we didn't have enough volunteers come back to do the buddy program, partly because our kids don't transition well when there's a lot of changes. And in today's ministry, everything's changing all the time. All of that. But it's worked out really well. So that's gonna be my encouragement for you.
Yeah, we kind of did the same thing, closing down classrooms, just having the larger rooms. tried the carpet squares, but it's hard to keep the kids on the carpet squares depending on the size. So we went with hula hoops because they were bigger size and gave them a little bit more room. And then we taped them down so they couldn't pick them up and play with them. And then if they need a break, then they can go to the sensory room. That was the only other classroom that's open besides the main room.
And the other thing I just thought of is we started out with 6 feet between for social distancing guidelines. Our local schools have currently gone more to the American Pediatrics Association's guidelines of the 3 feet. And just recently in our church environments, we went to the 3 feet. We almost had to just to make room for the kids that were coming back.
Well, it's great to hear that so many people are coming back as well, because that's obviously a big concern that, you know, that many families will not be coming back or they will not be coming back quickly. So for those of you who still have a lot of families who haven't come back, are you continuing some of the outreach that goes on to the home? I mean, you know, what is that looking like? How has that changed the last few months? I see some heads nodding.
I mean, we've had primarily only outdoor ministry, and we've actually had a pretty good turnout with it being outside. I mean, we can do that. I think that's probably why our state has been slow to reopen, because a lot of things you can do outside, like you're not forced inside a lot of times. So we've had pretty good attendance with the outdoor. People feel fairly safe. The mask wearing has been pretty good. There's some, you know, that it's harder for some than others, but it's been pretty good. That's been nice. Zoom, we still have a lot of Zoom, and that kind of fluctuates depending on the school, like how this, like when they started a new quarter, you know, for the high school or whatever, you know, we saw a dip, and then, you know, later on it goes back up. And that's similar, I think, for adults too. We've had a lot more engagement. New Year, maybe people are making resolutions to like do online church. I don't know, but we'll see.
So we are in person, but then we also have the virtual between services for my teens and adults. And so I have only 3 students that are coming in person on a regular basis, 2 at my 9 o'clock service and 1 at our 11 o'clock service. So it's pretty easy to keep social distance, and the 2 that come at 9 are siblings. So, but I am loving the 10:30 between service Zoom time with our teens and adults, and we have a consistent group that comes. We've gained 2 people who weren't even attending Sunday school before the pandemic, and sometimes our volunteers jump on too. So it's been a really sweet time, and believe me, it's not going away anytime soon. Like, I want to keep that time until every single one of the participants are back in the building, which I know probably won't be for months and months and months and months.
I was gonna say, so we have also been on hybrid, and since August, we've been sending out like a little lesson with one of our ministries partners saying hi and showing a video to our kids that are home. And we have a prayer ministry for our ministry where they send out notes to everyone and the families each month. But right now, there's something that we're working on. We haven't started yet, but we're in the planning phase that I would like to share in case this sparks an idea for anyone else. But I think, like everybody, we're in that place where what we have been doing is okay, but now it's time to be strategic about what to do going forward. So we're trying to ask ourselves, what is it the families that are at home need? What do the families who have never been to church before but have kids with special needs at home need? And what do our volunteers who are at home need to feel connected? And this is what we're working on, is coming up with a team of volunteers from our church, mostly who are at home. Like, we have a lot of people in our church who have special education backgrounds. So getting a team of those teachers to do a Bible lesson taught in a way that connects with kids with special needs. So it's shorter, it's simpler, there's a lot of visuals. And then hopefully asking like a team of artists, and they don't have to be good artists, just anyone that wants to help illustrate those Bible stories, and then a team of editors to put them together and then send those out each week, not just for the kids from our ministry that are at home, but hopefully they would share with others or that other people could see. Because kind of what we've seen is, I think what a lot of churches need is is online content that connects for your group, whether that's special needs or other, but also that personal hello from your church. So we are in the planning stages for this. I'm really excited about it because I get really excited about involving volunteers. So be praying that works out. And if anyone has any suggestions on how we could do that better or other ideas, please share.
Well, I have a question for you, Barb. So how are your volunteers connecting with the families? I mean, you said that you want to connect not only to families who are already at your church, but those who may not have a church home.
Right. Right now, they're only connecting to the ones who are part of our church but are at home. But my hope is if we can get a quality online content that is really for kids with special needs, like it's taught in that way, that would be shareable for their friends or other people. But what we tried in the beginning, when we first went shut down, to get our volunteers was asking them each to take a Bible story for that week's lesson. You send it out ahead of time and just tape themselves saying hello to the kids and reading the story or any way they wanted to do it. And that worked for a while. Then a lot of people kind of lost interest. So then it's mainly just been the core people doing it. But we're trying to resurrect that a little bit in a new way that's more structured and planned out ahead of time with people that want to really do it, because we've heard a lot from the people that are at home that they want to still feel connected and they want to serve, but they're not able to come back. So we're trying. We'll see how it goes.
Excellent. Anybody else doing something to engage your volunteers? Beth said in the chat that the ministry team at her church is producing a weekly kids church online lesson. So similar kind of idea.
Our church is pretty much kind of doing both too. We have a kids online lesson each week. We've been back since the beginning of September in the building. We came back in August outside. So it seems like a lot of us are all on the same page with things. The same with us with masks, except they've asked us here that they do want us, even in our sensory room, to require masks unless, there are some that are just medically, it's just not possible. And if they're in a wheelchair and they're not wearing a mask, we can socially distance them very easily. So that's been helpful, but we just really have not had a lot of people ready to come back. And I thought we would have an increase in January, and we did get that little bit of a bump, but then we had a huge COVID spike in our area. And so that wasn't helpful. And then we have had two big, I don't want to say breakouts, I don't know how to say it, but we've had a lot of staff people that have gotten it and gotten sick. And so we had to close down our special needs ministry 2 weeks ago. I had to just send out texts to everybody that had been coming back and let them know that we couldn't safely staff it. And I also had to let them know that the person in the room that tested positive was not symptomatic on Sunday, but became symptomatic on Tuesday. So potentially that was an issue. So this past weekend, was the first weekend that we came back after shutting down, and it was very, very light. So I'm just, I just had a meeting, with a pastor today. We were talking about it. We can't really make the families come. So we are still providing the hybrid till everyone is safe.
Right.
I'm Stacy. I'm from Missouri, and our church has been back since June. Actually, we opened Father's Day weekend, but it's slowly increased, and we have all the same kinds of things that Barb said in place, and that's going really well. As far as in our special needs ministry, though, we only have 5 back, and we have about 25 in our ministry. So the 5, we're meeting them where they are coming back, but we're doing a lot of drops still, and like movie drops, a movie box night, baking cookies, and then we'll put lessons with them as well. We also have online lessons every Sunday, but we've really felt like, the families need just a little encouragement. And when I drop those boxes off, some moms will stand on the porch and talk to me for 45 minutes. And so, you know, I think they need that connection more than anything, just to be able to talk and share. And so, and they're not interested in Zoom because they're doing Zoom with their kids for school.
Right.
And so they just don't want to meet on the computer. We tried that and it flopped. They were all so tired of it. So we might try that again though, but we're just still trying to do drop-offs and just stop and talk to them at least once every couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Beth said in the chat, you know, that, you know, people are craving connection. And that's actually one of the things that we are really focusing on in Key Ministry this year. So you'll kind of see that theme throughout everything that we're doing. So great ideas. Let me just look through the chat too. So yeah, Haley said, you know, connecting throughout the week is simple. It makes a huge difference. That is absolutely correct. Bronwyn says that they have 5 inclusion interns this semester who are responsible for respite planning, mostly drop-offs and porch visits, and then summer camp planning and creating some online content. I know Doc has an intern or 2 that has been working for him. Is anybody else using interns in this way? You know, is that just a small little rabbit trail? I'm just sort of curious about that, if that's anything else, anything somebody else has got going on. Okay. Bronwyn, do you want to just mention, is there anything else about the respite that they're creating that has been especially helpful, or maybe is something that hasn't been brought up here before?
I'm trying to think. This last month, so January, we did like, it was essentially a respite at home, like a respite box of stuff they could use at home. So it was like puzzles and games, and then we put ingredients to make Rice Krispie treats in there. And one of the interns, actually 2 of them, one edited the video and one made the video. They did like a little Rice Krispie treat making tutorial, like so that the kids could do it. And it's like super, you know, it's like Rice Krispies are super easy to make. So they made that and we put it out on our website, which was pretty fun. Like the kids really liked it. We got a lot of good feedback. And then one of the other interns made like an outdoor scavenger hunt. And then when they finish the scavenger hunt, the kids finish, they text me a picture of their finished scavenger hunt, and then we go and give them a little prize. And the interns are actually, like, they're not even paid. I mean, they're getting like high school credit maybe, or like college credit, or just like resume building thing. Like they wanted to do it. And so I've had interns before, but I've only had like 1 or 2 at a time, but this time I have 5. So it's been nice because, you know, we're still relatively all spread about here. So yeah, the kids like the Rice Krispie treats. It was fun.
Well, and thank you for sharing that. And I think that, you know, a lot of those kinds of things that an intern can do, a volunteer can do as well. So, you know, that was part of why I wanted to bring that up. Now, Beth said that they had an intern this past summer who helped with writing notes to families, just to keep that going so that there's that personal connection. Anybody else have anything that they want to share about involving your volunteers?
I will. We actually have one of our moms that, you know, been trying to find a way that she can get involved. And as talking with her, found out, you know, her gifting is that of encouragement. And so what we've had her start doing is we've given her our list of all of our other moms, and she's writing handwritten just encouragement notes to our moms and sending out 3 or 4 a week. And so, you know, despite her living in Texas, she's sending them to, you know, moms from all over the country. And so that's been a pretty cool thing we're starting to see some impact with. So another way that, you know, she wants to volunteer, she wants to give back. She's thankful for what SOAR's been able to do for her family, and desperately wanted to do something. And this is meeting a need that we desperately had, and filling her tank at the same time. So great way to find, you know, be able to use someone's gifting and their passion and merge it together for your ministry.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, is anybody doing anything, you know, back to the concept of, you know, there are definitely people in our communities and near our churches who are not part of our church families. You know, is anybody doing any kind of outreach or neighborhood based either respite or ministry outreach to the families in this time? Well, the reason I'm asking is because we're actually going to have a blog post later this week from Jillian Palmiato, who probably many of you know, that I guess it was last summer, you know, when everything was shut down, how they, she basically pulled up like the database of all their families and kind of overlaid it with like a, you know, like a locator map, and found church families that were near some of the special needs families to try to continue to have in-person and ongoing type connection with the families who were in their churches. You know, you can never have enough volunteers, and this, you know, especially when if it's somebody who lives across the street from you or in your same neighborhood, you know, that's a way that, you know, maybe you can tap into you know, folks who may be more than willing to spend some time, you know, reaching out to other to special needs families, but they aren't, you know, an active volunteer in your ministry already. So more details later this week in our blog post. I think it's going to be Thursday. So, and Beth just commented, Night to Shine. In is anybody else working on Night to Shine? Okay. Allison, how's it going?
Good. The snowstorm hopefully won't stop the proceedings this week, but we've got, I was excited that we've been able to involve 140 volunteers staggered over about 6 days. And just excited because there's some new people that are involved. Not as many guests as usual, about 160 guests this year, but still exciting to be able to be involved there. But yeah, it was a bit of a logistical nightmare, but I think we're through the woods. We just need to implement it now.
Excellent, excellent. Are you using your church facility in any kind of way for this, or like, you know, what does it look like?
Okay, so I'll try and describe it. So we've got preparing and packing the guest bags and the parent respite bags happening this week. That will be inside the church facility. We've opened up the worship center with tables where 3 volunteers can go at each table, and it'll be like a station, and they'll be packing the guest bags. On one night, next night they'll be packing the respite bags. The following night they'll be helping to decorate the outside canopy of the church entrance. And then on Saturday we have 4 time slots for the drive-through pickup. So it's contactless. We have paparazzi spaced out 6 feet apart, hopefully not too wet, but it will be cold, with pom-poms, and they'll drive through the parking, the guests will drive through the parking lot, pick up their swag bags, and then go through a sort of red carpet experience with paparazzi and photographers. And then there'll also be, I've recorded a couple of Zoom meetings where people have been paparazzi, so that will be on a loop being played of, so that again, that involved more volunteers who couldn't come out, but they could do a Zoom. And then they'll exit the church with some more yard signs and paparazzi, etc. So that'll be happening on 4 different times on next Saturday, and then the Night to Shine virtual event the following Friday. So yeah, a little daunting.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Does anybody else want to share what you're doing for Night to Shine or the lead up? Al, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I'm involved with actually 6 different Night to Shines, 5 in northern New Jersey and 1 in southern Jersey. Trying just to get people there, build connections, and because of it, our church had the biggest one in the East Coast, but we're not doing it this year. So, but there's other churches doing it, so trying to help them. And with Young Life Capernaum, we have 3 clubs, which we're pushing them to 3 different Night to Shines, as well as trying to just get others that would have gone to other ones, but aren't this year. I helped pack goodie bags yesterday at one church's event. We're doing, actually 2 churches in North Jersey, 1 in South Jersey are doing the Shine Through. One is doing it next Saturday. The other 2 are doing it the afternoon of the virtual Night to Shine, which is the 12th of February. So some churches aren't doing the virtual, they're only doing the virtual one. So it's really complicated because not everyone's doing the same thing, the same date
Right.
over here. So trying to help get people there, whatever they want. We've also worked with group homes as well, which is a different, some have come before. We're trying to get into other group homes this year as well. So hopefully that's a new opening because of it being virtual, getting more opportunity for some new venues that weren't being connected with before.
How receptive have those group homes been this year, just with, you know, with COVID?
Seems like they're open. I mean, it's something that's happening that they're excited about. And so some are going to come to the Shine Through. You know, they'll bring however many they want in their van and come to that. Others aren't coming to that, but they're doing the virtual one in their place.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they seem excited though, the ones that are doing it.
Excellent. Well, Beth said in the chat that that they're collaborating so that they're all pretty much doing the same thing, more or less, especially when it comes to the caregiver gifts. And they're dropping off boxes of decorations for the dozen or so group homes that have registered for their event. You know, theirs has historically been a very large Night to Shine event. Anybody else have anything they want to say about their Night to Shine effort, or any other kind of special event like that this month?
So I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm Angel with First Baptist Church of Glenarden with Reverend Taylor.
Yeah.
And sorry I had to step away, but I did want to share with our Night to Shine. We are, every day it changes what we're going to do. But I think what we've landed on is that we're going to create our own Zoom link and invite, you know, our audience to that Zoom link. And that we're going to break up the night. We're going to actually start at 5:30 with a lot of music playing. And then we're going to do like a greet and meet and see everybody and say hello. And then we're going to play the Tim Tebow video. Not quite sure how long that's going to be yet until we get it. Not quite sure if he's going to talk about or do the crowning during it or not. Not sure. But then what we're going to do is do a breakout room. And we're going to have 3 breakout rooms. And one breakout room is going to be the dance room. One breakout room is going to be the dance room. I'm sorry, the game room. And then the other breakout room is going to be our photo booth. And our photo booth is going to be the Zoom filters. Teach the kids, and most of them they already know, but how to put the bunny ears on and all that, and then teach them how to click on the print screen and it'll take a picture of you with your filter on a camera. So we're going to probably spend about 15 minutes in the breakout room. We're going to try to shuffle them, kind of figure out how to seamlessly shuffle them to each breakout room every 15 minutes. And then come back, and depending on what happens with the Tim Tebow video with crowning, if he doesn't really do it, then we're going to do the crowning ourselves. We're going to spotlight each child. We're going to have a list of their individual, call their names, spotlight them, and have their parent crown them. And then have some closing remarks, and hopefully that'll be a good night to shine for our participants.
That sounds excellent. So Beth said in the chat that she's heard that the TiVo video is going to be about 40 minutes. So just FYI.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Anybody else have any other kind of events? Like, I don't actually know like what time of year the Jesus proms happen, if that's like at the same time or if it's another time, but anybody else doing any other kind of special event this month? Bronwyn.
We just have like a low-key Valentine's Day. We realized Valentine's Day is on a Sunday this year. And so in the fall, we had what we called a fall family field days, where we invited families in our community and in our church to come and use our outdoor play facility and just kind of play, you know, for like an hour, hour and a half. So we merged that idea with on Valentine's Day, we'll have some like, you know, single serving like candies, like ring pops and stuff that like are already sealed and like not breathed on by other people. And we'll have those we can give kids, and we'll have card making supplies so they can make Valentine's Day cards for whoever they want to. And also we're gonna have a little box if they want to make a Valentine's Day card for a senior citizen in our church. We have a lot of folks that are living alone or living really isolated. So we thought, you know, if the kids want to make cards It's pretty low key, but it's something to do, you know, on Valentine's Day. And I don't know about in your communities, but here in schools here, Valentine's Day is like a big deal for kids, and they're missing out on that. So we wanted to kind of recreate some of that, you know, the candy and the little cards and stuff like that. And since on a Sunday, it worked out perfect because we would normally host a field day on a Sunday if we're going to do it. So not a huge thing, but I think it's going to be really fun for the kids and teenagers that come.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Anybody else doing anything around Valentine's Day this year?
Just in addition, oh, sorry, Haley. So our children's ministry have joined together with one of the local care homes and older adult facilities for, can't even think of the word now, aging people, older people. And we're sending them all Valentine's cards this year, and that will come from the kids. So it's just, we usually send them Christmas cards, so it's nice that they had Christmas cards, and now they'll be getting Valentine's cards as well.
Excellent. All right, Haley.
Yeah, so I work with Young Life Capernaum, so I'm not in a church, but we have been dropping off supplies for our Zoom calls, which have been really helpful just so they have something on their end. So like for our big groups, we'll have like game supplies, but for our Bible study, we have like a binder for each kid for every week, so that it's not just like showing up to a virtual thing. They've got like something they can hold and write and apply on their end. But I also wanted to mention that most Young Life ministries right now are focusing on discipleship because we can't go meet new kids the way we normally do. So if you have a Young Life Capernaum ministry nearby, I would get connected with them because they probably have been discipling kids for almost a year now, specifically discipling kids. So maybe like doing a virtual event or in person if you're able, just to partner with them and bring those kids into the church, because ultimately that's why Young Life exists, is to bring kids into the church.
Excellent. So how do people find out more about the discipleship program if they're interested? Haley, do you have a website or a information that you can share that we can put in the chat?
Young Life Capernaum looks different everywhere, and there's not a Capernaum everywhere, but I'm happy to put my email in, and then like anyone who's interested, I'm in LA, but I could get you connected with whatever Capernaum's closer to you, if that's helpful.
Excellent. Yep. And Al is a good resource for Young Life Capernaum too. So what else? We've got about 15 minutes until we're at the top of the hour. So what else would you like to share before we wrap up?
So with Valentine's Day being on a Sunday, we have a gal here that makes those hot cocoa bombs. Is everybody familiar with the hot cocoa bombs? And then we're getting ready to print up some tags that says "You're the bomb," and we're gonna make sure all of our people that have come back and have been helping. A lot of our volunteers are kind of been doing double duty, so just trying to make that a little bit more special for them. But it's not costing me hardly anything.
Are you delivering them? Or your kids
Send them out on Sunday. Yeah, they're just for the volunteers that have come back and are currently working in our building.
One thing that we just released is a new video-driven curriculum series called Tastes Like Chicken. And it is an over-the-top, funny series of lessons that look at some of the oddest food stories in the Bible. So we have, I'll drop a link to the product page in the chat here in just a second. We created a video preview for the series, since it's a little bit different than some of the other ones that we've done, for those of you that are used to some of our curriculums. So you can get like a 2-minute preview of what all is included in the series, but legitimately over the top funny, because we understand that doing the video thing, especially if you're using it online, it can be used for in-person as well. But if you're using it for the online, sometimes it gets stale. So we went over the top funny for this. Also, it won't be done today, but we're hoping to launch tomorrow or the next day at the latest, a free video-driven lesson for people to download. So if you've not used our video-driven curriculum, this will give you like the perfect sample of what most of our video-driven stuff is like. That's going to be called "Don't Diss My Abilities." So it's going to be a good video lesson. So if you have like, even if you just have a one weekend where you're like, crap, I don't have anything to use, download it, use it. It'll be perfect for your ministry, for like those one-off Sundays where you need something, or if you just want to preview our stuff. So I'll put the link to the Taste Like Chicken product page in the chat. You can check out the video that shows you what all's included in it to give you a better idea of that. So hopefully you'll think it's funny, or if you don't, just you can laugh at me. So we took a risk here in trying to do something fun. So we hope you enjoy it.
Can you give us one example of what tastes like chicken?
Nothing that we actually do in this series, but
okay.
That was just one of the crazy over the top things was we blended a Happy Meal, like everything in a Happy Meal, put in a blender, and so we're talking like over the top. So it's a lot of fun stuff in here. You'll enjoy it. We created a new character that I get to interact with weekly in the series based on Guy Fieri from the Food Network. So the character in this series, his name is not Guy Fieri. His name is Dude Ferrari. So a little similar, but he looks a lot like the character. So, but it's just fun.
Very nice.
I'll throw out with us here at SOAR, we've got several things we'd love to offer up to everybody with your churches. First off, our talk with Doc this week I think will be very good and beneficial for all of us. Dr. Stephanie Holmes will be coming in, and we're talking on marriage and how your church can support families with special needs and their marriage. So make sure you check that out. Something that we can all do better in supporting our families and their marriage. The other thing, we're continuing to do our virtual respites, and we welcome your churches to be a part of it. It's completely free. On the 9th will be for teens, the 11th will be adults, and the 23rd of February will be elementary. This month is a fun. They're free. You can go to our webpage or our Facebook page to see how to register for that. We'd love to have we do all the heavy lifting for it, but if you want to be part of that and jump in with your group and your families, you're more than welcome. And then other things coming up this summer, we're doing our we will do a virtual camp again. So we would love to have, we're really trying hard to promote that for churches. If you're trying to figure out how to do something this summer, we'd love to be able to have your entire ministry be a part of the virtual camp where you can actually have an entire room be just your ministry. We'll, again, do all the heavy lifting, and then if you want to have some of your volunteers involved so you can be there and minister with your campers, an hour each day, we'd love to do that with you. So if you're interested in that, just contact us at info@soarspecialneeds.org. And then the last thing is we are really wanting to get up our virtual disability ministry directory. So we want to be able to highlight ministries from all over the country with video. So if you, it's open to everyone, completely free. We want to get about 25 before we post it. We're halfway there. All you have to do is shoot a 5, 10, 15-minute video of your ministry, what you do. It's going to be great to recruit new families, recruit new volunteers, and then a great way we can learn from one another as ministry leaders. So if you're interested in that, you can also email us at info@soarspecialneeds.org.
Well, and thank you, Doc. Thank you, Laura, for putting the URL in the chat. So be sure to look at that. Doc, Al wants to know what the dates of the SOAR camp are this summer.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the SOAR camp will be July 26th through the 30th, and that'll be the virtual one. We're going to do an in-person the week before, but the virtual will be July 26th through the 30th. And then we will be doing Zoom rooms for the virtual, and we can work with you and your ministry to find a time that would work for you in your church.
I want to invite everybody to join us back on Zoom in a couple weeks. So on the third Wednesday of each month, we have our Disability Ministry Video Roundtable, and Ryan Wolf will be on with us on February 17th. So the topic that we're going to be discussing is volunteer guardians and your church. And so Ryan has some really good experience with that. And so I think it's going to be a really neat topic to tackle, and maybe give us some possibilities for our churches to come alongside some individuals. So all right, that is all I have, so I'm going back off camera.
Anybody else? Last call.
I just say really quick, if anyone wants to hear more from people who have relaunched already, in Wonderful Works last week, we did share our interview with my church's Refinery Church in Columbus, Ohio, with our children's ministry director and my co-leader for the special needs ministry, where we interviewed them on everything they've learned since relaunch. So if you want to hear from them, I'll put the link in the chat and you're free to check it out.
Excellent. Thank you, Barb. And then Haley just mentioned that she's got a 6-week lesson on Psalm 23, 1 verse a week, that's helpful as a discipleship tool. So you can reach out to Haley and find out more about that. Well, thanks everybody so much for joining today. It's been a great information sharing as always. So next month, it'll be March 1st when we do this again. So be sure to mark your calendars, if you're already getting the emails for this, so you'll get the link. But feel free to share with friends, other people that you know in special needs ministry, because this is definitely helpful to all of us. So on behalf of Key Ministry, I'm Catherine Boyle. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you back here next time. Take care.